All right. Getting ready for a hair removal technician interview. Congratulations.
It's a booming field, you
Yeah,
know.
the Bureau of Labor Statistics even predicts like 10% growth over the next decade. Way faster than average for, well, just about any job.
Definitely a smart move.
For sure. And we've got a whole bunch of resources to help you get ready. Career guides, interview guides.
Not to mention.
Yeah, insights into how RoleCatcher's AI can, give you that extra little boost.
Exactly.
So our mission today, to make sure you're walking into that interview feeling prepared, confident, and ready to just totally wow them.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? And it's interesting, this growth, it's not just like a random thing. It's directly tied to how much demand there is for beauty and personal care services.
Right. Makes sense.
It's a field with a lot of potential, for sure.
Absolutely. So before we even jump into questions, let's talk about what a hair removal technician actually does all day. Because I think a lot of people just think, waxing,
Yeah.
But it's got to be way more than that.
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot more than just waxing. We're talking, epilation, depilation,
Right.
electrolysis, even intense pulse light or IPL, all kinds of different techniques.
Wow.
And it's not just about knowing how to use them. It's about working with clients who have different needs, different skin types, and of course, keeping everything super clean and safe.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you're in the interview, right? And they hit you with this. Describe your experience with various hair removal techniques. How do you approach that, especially if maybe you're really good at one, but not so much the others?
Well, honesty is key, right? You don't want to oversell yourself on something you're not as familiar with.
Right.
Instead, focus on what you do know well. So waxing, for example, talk about it confidently. And then you can mention any exposure you've had to other methods, even if it's just from your training, even if it's just theoretical, because what really matters is showing you're eager to learn and that you get that this field is all about staying up to date, always learning new things.
So it's almost as much about being a quick learner as it is about already having tons of experience.
Exactly. And that's where RoleCatcher can be super helpful. It's AI. It can actually look at the specific job description and tell you what skills are most important.
Oh, wow.
To that employer, so you can tweak your answer to hit those exact things.
That's seriously smart. Okay, on to something that's, probably going to happen at some point in this job. Difficult clients.
Oh, yeah.
How do you answer the question? How do you handle a challenging client during a hair removal session without, sounding like you're going to lose it on somebody?
Right. The key here is to acknowledge that, difficult clients are part of the job. That shows you're realistic, right?
Yeah.
But then give a specific example, like how you handled a tough interaction well in the past. Think about it. Did you have a client who was nervous about the pain? Or maybe somebody who wasn't happy with a previous treatment? Walk them through how you listened to their concerns, you showed empathy, and you found a solution that worked for both of you.
So it's about being understanding, but still totally professional.
Right, exactly.
Now, what if they ask about hygiene? Something like, how do you maintain a clean and sanitary environment during a hair removal session? That's a big one, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
They're definitely going to want to hear about how serious you are about safety.
For sure. This is where you really go into detail about your process. How do you sterilize your equipment? How do you avoid cross-contamination? Do you use disposable tools whenever you can? Mentioning specific products or techniques you use.
Okay.
Especially if they align with industry standards, it shows you're on top of it.
And if the job description mentions any specific guidelines, bring those up.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Shows you've done your homework.
Right.
And you're ready to go.
You know what? RoleCatcher's AI, it can actually find those keywords for you.
Really?
Yeah, so you don't miss any chances to connect your answer directly to their requirements.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about experience, hygiene. What about when things go wrong? A client has a bad reaction to a treatment.
Oh, yeah.
How do you even answer that in an interview?
It's a tough one, but being prepared for it, essential.
Yeah.
Honesty and empathy are super important here. You got to acknowledge that, look, negative reactions can happen.
Yeah.
Even when you're doing everything right.
Right.
So then outline your protocol. How do you assess the situation? What immediate care do you give? Do you have a system for, writing down what happened?
Okay. So if it's something minor, like just some redness, you'd explain that, a little sensitivity is normal.
Right.
apply some soothing product.
Yeah.
Advise them on aftercare.
Exactly. And always emphasize that you follow the manufacturer's guidelines for whatever product or equipment you use. That shows how dedicated you are to safety and minimizing any risks.
Okay, this next one's a little more fun. How do you stay updated on the latest hair removal techniques and trends? This is your chance to really show some passion, I think.
Absolutely. Talk about how much you love learning new things. Do you subscribe to industry magazines?
Yeah.
Attend workshops or conferences, follow experts on social media. Giving specific examples like that really shows you're actively learning.
And I love how RoleCatcher's career guides link to a bunch of those resources.
Yeah.
It's like a built-in research assistant, practically.
Very handy.
Okay, let's talk about client comfort.
Yeah.
How do you ensure a client feels comfortable during a hair removal session, especially if they're nervous?
This one is all about empathy and clear communication. You need to acknowledge that, yeah, hair removal can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And for some people, it can even make them anxious.
Right.
Then talk about how you create a relaxing and supportive environment. Do you explain everything clearly? Use a gentle touch. Check in with them often.
It's the little things too, right? Like a really clean, comfortable room, maybe a warm blanket or some calming music.
Exactly. And don't underestimate how much RoleCatcher's AI feedback can help here.
Oh.
Yeah, it can analyze your tone of voice and even your body language when you practice your answers.
Really?
So you can make sure you're projecting confidence and putting your clients at ease.
That's incredible. Okay, we've covered a lot, but before we move on to even more questions, let's talk about certifications.
Yeah.
The career guide mentioned a few, like Certified Professional Electrologist, or CPE, and Certified Laser Hair Removal Professional, CLHRP.
Yep.
What can you tell us about those?
Well, those are great examples of credentials that show you have advanced knowledge and that you're really committed to professional standards.
And what's awesome is that RoleCatcher's Career Compass can actually recommend certifications based on your skills and what you want to achieve.
That's right. It's like having a personal career advisor.
Totally.
Okay, we have lots more questions to get to, but let's pick up right where we left off in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
All right, welcome back. We're jumping right back into those interview questions. Remember, we're not just giving you the what to say, but the why behind it.
Right, the strategy.
Exactly, so you can really make an impression.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI is there to help you, fine-tune everything.
Oh yeah, it's a great tool. Okay, let's say the interviewer throws this at you. Tell me about a time you had to deal with a client who was unhappy with the results of their hair removal session.
Ooh, that's got to be a tough one.
It can be, but it's also a great chance to show off your problem-solving skills and how much you care about client satisfaction.
Okay, I see that.
So first, you acknowledge their feelings, make it super clear you get that they're not happy.
Right.
Then walk them through what you did. Did you offer a refund? A free follow?
So you're proving you take feedback seriously.
Exactly. And be specific. Don't just say, like, I tried to make them happy. Think of a real example where you turned a negative into a positive.
Makes sense. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. How do you stay up to date with the latest hair removal techniques and trends? This one feels a little, more relaxed.
It is, but it's still important. It's your chance to show that you're passionate about this field.
Yeah.
And that you're committed to always learning new things and growing your skills.
You know what? I love this question. Conferences, trade publications, online forums, workshops, anything goes here.
Right. Anything that shows you're actively seeking out new knowledge and skills.
Totally. And here's a tip. Get specific.
Oh, yeah.
Did you go to a seminar on a new laser technique? Are you following some big expert on social media? Those details make your answer way more interesting and memorable.
For sure. And speaking of making things memorable, RoleCatcher can analyze the job description and point out keywords.
Oh, right.
So you can match your answer to what they're looking for.
So smart. Okay, back to client comfort. How do you ensure a client feels comfortable during a hair removal session, especially if they're nervous?
Well, it all starts with empathy and communicating clearly. You have to acknowledge that, hair removal can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And for some people, it can even trigger some anxiety.
Absolutely.
So then you explain what you do to create a welcoming, reassuring atmosphere.
So like explaining the whole procedure thoroughly, having a gentle touch, checking in with them throughout the session.
Exactly. And things like, a clean, comfortable room,
Oh, yeah.
a warm blanket, maybe even some music playing. All those little things can make a big difference.
It's about the whole experience, really.
Right. And RoleCatcher's AI feedback on your tone and body language can be super helpful here. You want to project that calm, confident energy that puts clients at ease.
All right, let's talk about another essential thing. How do you maintain a clean and sanitary environment during a hair removal session? I mean, this has got to be a top priority, right?
Absolutely. This is where you really showcase your dedication to hygiene and safety.
For sure. So walk them through your whole process. Sterilizing equipment, using disposables, hand washing, everything.
Be specific, too. Don't just say, I clean everything. Talk about what kinds of disinfectants you use, how you present cross-contamination, and how you're committed to following all the industry standards and regulations.
It's almost like knowing the right terms gives your answer more weight.
It totally does. It shows you understand how important it is.
And RoleCatcher's career guides are awesome for brushing up on that stuff.
Oh, yeah. They have a whole section just on safety and sanitation in the beauty industry. Ready for a bit of a curveball?
Hit me with it.
What if they ask, tell me about a time you had to go above and beyond for a client?
Ooh, I like this one.
This is your chance to really shine. It's about showing your dedication to customer service and how you can think outside the box.
Okay, so like maybe a time you stayed late to fit a client in or went out of your way to find a certain product for them or help them feel more comfortable during a sensitive treatment.
Exactly. Tell a story that shows your empathy, your initiative, and your problem-solving skills. And be genuine, don't just make something up.
Right, it has to be real.
Okay, here's a classic. What are your strengths as a hair removal technician? Seems straightforward, but it's easy to fall into those generic answers like, I'm a hard worker, or I'm a people person.
Yeah, those don't really stand out.
No, they don't. You want to focus on skills and qualities that are relevant to the job and back them up with examples.
Okay.
Are you amazing at a specific hair removal technique? Do you have a knack for making clients feel totally comfortable? Are you known for your attention to detail?
I see, I see.
This is another place where RoleCatcher can help you tailor your answer perfectly. Its AI can figure out what the employer is really looking for based on that job description. It's like having your own personal interview coach right there in your pocket.
That's so cool. Okay, now for the quote nobody likes. What are your weaknesses as a hair removal technician? Feels like a trick question.
It can feel that way, but remember, everyone has weaknesses.
Sure.
What they really want to see is how you handle them. Do you learn from your mistakes? Do you use them to grow?
Makes sense.
So pick a real weakness, don't sugarcoat it, but one that you're working on improving.
Like, for instance, I sometimes struggle with time management, but I've started using this new scheduling system to help me stay on track.
Perfect. You're being honest, but you're also showing self-awareness and that you're committed to growth.
You can even kind of frame a weakness as a strength.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Like, I can be a bit of a perfectionist, which sometimes means I spend too long on a task.
Yeah.
But I'm learning to be more efficient without sacrificing quality.
That's a great strategy. Okay, let's keep this momentum going. Imagine they ask, why should we hire you for this hair removal technician position? This is your closing argument, your chance to really sell yourself.
Time to bring it all home.
Exactly. You want to sum up your key qualifications, really emphasize those skills, experience, and passion, and connect all of that to what the employer needs.
Right. Tailor it to them.
If they're all about client satisfaction in the job description, you'd really play up your commitment to creating a positive experience. If they're looking for advanced skills in a certain technique, that's where you showcase your expertise.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful here. It can pick out those key words that matter most to the employer, so you can craft that perfect response.
Exactly. Okay, now for the salary question. What are your salary expectations?
Yes, this one always feels a bit awkward.
It does, but it's so important to have a good answer ready. And I mean, a well-researched answer.
Right.
Don't just throw out any number that comes to mind. Research what other hair removal technicians in your area are making, considering your experience and qualifications.
Can you give a range, or do you have to say a specific number?
A range is totally fine. Something like, based on my experience and what's typical, I'm looking for a salary between X and Y.
Okay. What if you're not sure what the range should be? Can you kind of deflect the question?
You could definitely say something like, I'm really focused on finding the right fit for my skills and experience, and I'm confident we can figure out a fair compensation package.
Smart. Okay, almost to the end of our interview marathon here.
Yeah.
But there's one more question that's pretty much guaranteed to come up. Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, this is important. Never pass up this opportunity.
Right. It shows you're interested.
Exactly.
Fun.
Having thoughtful questions prepared shows you're engaged and really thinking about this job.
So what kind of questions should you ask?
You could ask about company culture, the team you'd be working with, chances for professional development, or even the challenges and rewards of the role itself.
Okay. Anything else?
And don't just, go through your list. Listen carefully to what the interviewer says. If something sparks your curiosity, ask a follow-up question. It shows you're paying attention and really engaged in the conversation.
All right. We've covered a ton of questions today. I'm feeling pretty confident just listening to all this. Before we wrap up this part, though, let's talk a bit more about RoleCatcher's AI tools. We've mentioned them throughout, but they can really make a big difference, can't they?
They really can. From polishing your resume to acing those interviews, RoleCatcher's AI can analyze job descriptions, highlight key skills, and even give you feedback on your answers. It's an amazing resource.
It really is. It's like having a whole career support team at your fingertips, and it's super easy to use.
Yeah, you don't have to be a tech expert to navigate it.
And they have a free version, so you can try it out risk-free.
Exactly. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this part. Let's take a quick break and come back for the final stretch of our interview prep. And we're back, ready for the final stretch of our deep dive into acing that hair removal technician interview.
Let's do it. I feel like we've already covered so much.
We have, but there are always a few more questions that can really make you shine.
Okay, like what?
Well, what about the ones that look ahead?
Oh, you mean like those long-term goal questions?
Exactly. Like if they ask, what are your long-term career goals? Are they expecting you to, have your entire life planned out?
Right, that's what it feels like sometimes.
It can, but honestly, it's more about showing that you're ambitious and you've given your future some thought.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And it's a great opportunity to connect those aspirations to the job you're interviewing for,
Okay, I see that. So, if you're really passionate about, say, becoming an electrolysis expert, you definitely mention that.
Exactly. Or maybe you see yourself running a salon someday.
Right, or even owning your own business.
Exactly. And even if your long-term goals aren't directly related to this specific role,
Yeah.
you can still frame them in a way that shows you're committed to growing in the beauty industry.
So, something like, I want to become a really well-rounded beauty professional, and I see this role as a great way to gain experience in hair removal.
Perfect. Now let's talk about a question that nobody likes.
Uh-oh. Which one?
Tell me about a time you failed. Right, it feels like a trap.
It totally does.
But remember, everyone makes mistakes. What they really want to know is how you handle setbacks. Can you learn from your experiences? Can you use those experiences to grow?
Okay, so it's about how you bounce back.
Exactly. So pick a real failure. Don't try to sugarcoat it. But focus on what you learned and how it made you a better professional.
So, maybe you misjudged a client's skin type and you had to, adjust your technique on the fly. Or maybe you overbooked yourself and had to scramble to stay on schedule.
Perfect examples. Talk about how you fixed the situation and what you learned to prevent it from happening again.
It shows that you're self-aware, that you take responsibility, and that you're always trying to improve.
Exactly. All right, ready for another tough one?
Get me?
What makes you different from other candidates? How do you sum up what makes you awesome in, one short answer?
I know, right? It's tough.
It is, but it's more than just listing your skills and experience. Think about what makes you you, your qualities, your values, your passions. Are you incredibly patient and detail-oriented, perfect for those really intricate techniques? Do you have a personality that just makes people feel comfortable?
I like that. And I bet you'd want to emphasize how genuinely excited you are about this field and why you want to work at this specific company.
Absolutely. Do your research. What do you admire about them? Their values, their approach to clients, their reputation.
Mention it.
It shows you're not just looking for any job, you're interested in this job. All right, end of the interview. They ask, do you have any questions for me? Don't you dare say, nope, I'm good.
No way. You got to have some questions ready. But what kind?
Well, think about what you genuinely want to know. Ask about company culture, the team, opportunities to learn and grow, even the specific challenges of the role.
Okay, good ones. Anything else?
And listen, really pay attention to what they're saying. If something sparks your interest, ask a follow-up question. It shows you're engaged and that you're really thinking about what they're saying.
Makes sense. Wow, we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive. From those essential techniques to those tough interview questions, I feel like we've really explored everything.
And don't forget about RoleCatcher's AI. It can be such a game changer, helping you prepare for every step of the process.
Seriously, it's like having a personal career coach right in your pocket. And with that free version, everyone can give it a try.
For sure. So what does all of this mean for you? You're not just going to show up for this interview. You're going to walk in prepared, confident, and ready to totally impress them.
You'll have a deep understanding of the role, the industry, and exactly what those interviewers are looking for. Plus, you'll have all the tools you need to create those killer answers that make a real impact.
And remember, the beauty industry thrives on passion and connection. Let your enthusiasm shine through. Show them you really care about helping people look and feel their best.
Love it. And don't forget that smile.
A confident smile can go a long way. Good luck. You got this.
You're ready to rock that interview.